Good morning and welcome to our webinar about career guidance. Career guidance can be defined as a comprehensive development program designed to assist individuals in making and implementing informed educational and occupational choices. Students need career guidance to explore and plan for future career endeavors based on their individual interests, skills, and values. My name is Veronique Petrus, and I will be your moderator for today. I am currently doing my final year at the Asia Pacific University, and as a final year student, I know that often we ask ourselves, what is the next step after obtaining our degree? Or are we done with university? Do we just join the world of work, or do we aim for further studies? As many says, the sky is the limit. So with us today, we have a special guest speaker, Ms. Subaashni Suppramaniam. Thank you for joining us, Ms. Subaashni. Ms. Subaashni herself is an academic expert in the field. She would be able to guide us further. At the end of the webinar, participants will be able to ask questions. I will now leave the floor to Ms. Subaashni. Ms. Subha, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Veronique. Thank you so much. Very good morning to everyone, especially my dear students, okay, who is in the midst of completing your studies, or rather who is still in the university pursuing your studies. I hope my talk today will be very beneficial for all of you. Right? Let's look at the slides, and then I will go through the slides with you all. Mainly in terms of how do you plan your career after graduation, and what do you need to equip yourself with, right? So yes, I'm going to share my screen. All right, Veronique, could you please just let me know if you are able to see the screen? Yeah. Veronique, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. Yeah. So all right, now let's start. So, the topic today is the webinar's topic was mainly on career guidance, right? It was a very interesting topic given to me, though it's very common. I mean, every time we talk about career guidance, career development, and so on to students, especially undergraduate students, we try to tell students as they are graduating, what are your plans? We talk about a lot of your plans. What is your path, and so on. So I have narrowed down to the topic into saying, what's my plan? Okay, what's my plan? Right? Ask yourself, what's your plan? Right? Now that you are in the midst of graduating, in the midst of finishing your undergraduate program, and so, you must ask yourself this: what's my plan after this? Right? So that will give you an opening to whatever you need to understand moving forward, right? Whatever that you need to plan moving forward, whatever that you need to equip yourself moving forward, and whatever that you need to understand moving forward, right? So what do I do after this? All right, this is a very big step for most students or graduates. The minute that you finish your bachelor's degree or undergraduate program, you always or often students have this question of, what do I do after graduation? Right? This question used to come to students when you finish your high school. There was always this question: what do I do? What degree do I pursue? What program do I pursue? All right. If you're in the science stream, then you look at prospects in the science field, and then you are in the art stream, you look at prospects in the art stream, and then based on your results, qualification that you have had, then you start to take up some degree, or take up your higher level education to a next level. So that's how you end up doing your courses and getting into university and completing your courses. So that is one decision that you had to make. And I'm sure in that decision making process, you had your peers, you had your friends, you had your teachers, you had the school institution, and you also had your parents giving you a lot of support, a lot of input, a lot of advice on what you should be studying, and based on the interest that you have. All right. So at that point, you are still in the midst of moving from a teenager, from a high school leaver, going into a university life, and so there's always support. Okay, there's a support system. I mean, directing you towards that path. Right now, what has happened is now you have graduated or you will be graduating. So you may not get the similar support system upon graduation, because now you are very independent. All that you have is that one degree that you have earned for, and you are considering what to do after this. All right. So I'm going to take you and explain to you what are the options that you have after you graduate. But before that, there are some very important things that I have to impart to you about skills. Right. Okay. Now, preparing a life after graduation. So, this is how a graduate feels. When you graduate, you feel that you are so equipped with a lot of things. Okay, first of all, the knowledge, the degree itself, the grades, the A's and B's, and all the credits, merits that you have already acquired in the 3 years or 4 years program, right? And then you would have had a good CGPA, okay, a good figure to your CGPA, and then you would have involved yourself in a lot of extracurricular activities in uni, and then you would have made a lot of networking relationship at university, commitment at university, and so in terms of being in curricular or in societies and so on, and then you got a lot of scores and such. Right, that's one part of it. And then you would feel that you have also built your hard skills and soft skills. In HR, we've got these two terms called hard skills and soft skills. Hard skills are quantifiable, all right? Things that can be determined with numbers, can be seen through reports, can be seen through grades, all right? Can be seen through your assignments and so on. Soft skills are skills that are not quantifiable. It's more on the quality that you produce, right? Though the relationship that you have with your supervisors, the relationship that you have with your lecturers, with your friends, the skills, okay, soft skills that you have actually earned, like communication skills, problem solving skills, and so on. So this is what you feel that you have equipped yourself, or rather, we feel that the institution should be able to equip a undergraduate before the graduation. So this is very important. Okay. While for those who are still in the university, please ensure that you are exposing yourself to these hard skills and soft skills. Try to see where and when you can actually acquire these skills. Make an extra effort to see if you could actually equip yourself. But for those who have or who is about to leave the institution or the university, and so it doesn't matter, you still have time. All right. Learning is a lifelong process, so upskilling yourself is very, very important. So this is what generally you feel after you have graduated. Now, it is very important to know certain things before you decide on what you want to do after graduation. Okay, so a lot of times you will get advice like from your family saying that, oh, you should look out for a job, you should look for a job immediately, and you get some of your relatives telling you, oh, why do you want to seek job immediately, why don't you complete your postgraduate degree, and then your job opportunities are better. And then you get friends who tell you that, hey, let's go traveling. And then you get other friends who, or your peers who tell you that, hey, let's start up a business and so on. But all this doesn't matter until you know yourself what you actually want. So everybody can actually come and tell you what to do, what is right, what is wrong, this is the right path, and so. But what is the most important thing is you yourself, you must know what you actually want to do. What is your career path? All right. What is your destination, or where you want to be? What is your aim? What is your goal? What is your personal goal? So in order to understand your personal goal, you need to know yourself, right? You need to know yourself. You know your capability, you know your ability, you know your skills, you know your knowledge, you know your ability, and so on. So based on this, you should know what you want to do. So that's one thing. Second, you should know where you are going. Now that you have graduated, so the very next step is another path or another step higher than that, where you feel that this is the way or this is the path which is going to lead your career after this. All right. So where you want to go, all right? What are you looking for? So when you know yourself, you will know your destination, right? And when you know your destination, you will know how to get there. All right. So when you know that this is where I want to be, this is what I want to do, or if I want to start a business, and so what are the steps or what are the resources that you need to look out for in order to start your business, or if you want to start a work. So how do you get there? Or get your resume done, or get yourself hooked up to LinkedIn and so on. So the path to get there, you need certain resources, right? And the last and the most important things, you know what you must learn. Okay, you must know in order to get a job, get hired, or other besides getting hired, some of you may want to do your postgraduate degree. All right, some of you may want to start a business, some of you just want to go traveling, some of you want to take a year gap, some of you would just want to build networking, and so in order to do all this, okay, either one of these, or to reach out to this, you must know what are the skills that you need. So it's easy to say, yeah, I'm just going to go look for a job. Yes, you have a degree, now you want to look for a job. So that does not meet the qualification or just the requirement. That's just a minimum requirement to get a job. You have a degree in a particular field and then you want to get a job. So that's just a minimum requirement. But there are lots more of, other things that you need to consider before getting a job. Now you want to consider doing a postgraduate degree. You finish your undergraduate degree, you want to pursue into your masters. You want to go and do your MBA, MPhil, and so on. So yes, a minimum requirement to do a master's degree is having a bachelor's degree. Yes, that's again, that is just a minimum requirement. But what are the additional things that you must know? So these are the gaps that you will need to understand when you want to look out for what you want to do after you graduate. All right. And getting there, how you want to get there, what are the resources that you want to do, what are the links that you need to know, right? And what are the skills that is very important for you to get to wherever you want to be. All right. Moving forward, certain skill must be mastered. All right, you must master your craft. Master your craft means whatever that you have learned, whatever skills that you have learned in the university, throughout your high school, throughout your adolescence, and so on, you must master the skills. Okay, you must master certain skills by the time you graduate. Second, master opportunities. Opportunities are out there. Okay, everybody receives the similar opportunity and we are exposed to the similar opportunities. You must master. That means you must be able to grasp these opportunities out there in order to see what fits you. Okay, if you want to look out for a job, if you want to get hired, so what are the opportunities that you must look out for? If you want to continue into a postgraduate degree after graduating, you don't feel like working, so I want to continue with my studies. So what are the opportunities that you must look out for? All right. And if you want to go traveling, you want to take a year gap, so what are the opportunities that you must look out for? What are the additional skills that you want to learn? These are opportunities that you must master. So it does not knock on your door. All right, opportunities does not knock on your door, but you need to seek out and you need to embrace these opportunities and see how it could actually help you in the best way. Third is mastering marketing. Master marketing. Marketing does not mean
Miss,
just
hi, Miss Suba. Sorry to interrupt.
yes.
Can you put your slide in presentation board, please?
um, are you not able to see?
We can see, but can you please put it on present? Yes.
All right, is this better? Is this better?
No, no, it's still the same.
It is on the presentation slide, Veronique.
Okay, okay, it's okay, Miss.
All right. Okay. So, yeah, mastering marketing means how do you profile yourself? Okay. Mastering marketing means how do you profile yourself and how do you market yourself? If you want to get a job, Okay, if you want to get hired, if you want to go for an interview, and so how do you profile yourself? How do you market yourself? Besides your qualification, besides the degree, and besides whatever educational experience that you have already gathered, what are the other things that may market you to fulfill the job requirement? How are you going to impress your employers? Okay, if you want to go for a postgraduate degree, how are you going to impress the institution that you are an eligible candidate to take up a master's program or a PhD program, and so, right? So that is what we call master marketing. And then people skill, build relationship, networking, communicate. How do you build relationship with people? People skills are very important, because sooner or later, somehow, at one point in your career, one point in your life, when you're working, when you're leading something, when you are attached to some form of attachment or institution, and so you will have certain leadership skills that you may need to portray, right? When that comes, you will be having so many people reporting to you. You will have subordinates to yourself. You will need to deal with higher level management people, CEOs, and so on. So it can come in any form, right? So it is very important to build people skills. How do you communicate with people? What is the best way you communicate with people in the office? What is the formal way to communicate? What is an informal way to communicate? When do you do the formal communication? When do you treat people in a more casual way? So these are things that you must master. So this only can happen as you grow and build your skills in the working environment, and so, right? So these are the skills that you must master. Now, what should you become, right? In this current environment, we are already in the post-COVID environment. Though we have got cases of Omicron heading up and leading every day, we're getting higher number of cases, and so. But a lot of nation out there has already switched to an endemic rather than a pandemic. Okay, we are already looking at a post-pandemic zone and post-pandemic era. So keeping that in mind, we should not think that we are still in pandemic. We should be a little bit careful, and yeah, we should be careful. But in terms of looking out for opportunities, you should not use these as an excuse to hinder yourself from moving forward. Right? So you must be resilient. Resilient is basically recover fast from difficult condition and move on. So do not use excuses to pull yourself out or restrict yourself from moving forward in anything that you are planning to do. Right? Second, be consistent with um, your be consistent with your skills, be consistent with your effort, be consistent with your whatever goals that you are trying to pursue. All right. Third is being optimistic. Optimistic is being very hopeful. Okay, when you go for interview, when you go for any form of exposure that you are going to be taking, even for your degree, or even if you're experiencing a form of a trip with your friend or anything, okay, anything, you must be very optimistic and be hopeful that everything will go on fine, especially when you go for interviews, when you are meeting with people in the higher level from you. Be optimistic and be very confident. All right. Second is assertive. One minute. Second is being assertive. Assertive is basically being forceful personality, having a very forceful personality. That means your personality shows what kind of skills and what kind of person you have become. All right, so that it will portray a very good impression on your employers, on the people that you meet, and so. All right. Third, sorry, not the third one. The next one is enterprising. Enterprising. Look out for opportunities. Okay, like I gave you options. Some of you may want to work. Some of you may want to continue with your postgraduate degrees. Some of you may want to start a business. So when you talk about starting a business, you must be very enterprising. And with that comes creativity and innovation. Okay, be creative, be very innovative with whatever that you want to sell, that how your business that how you want to make your business, okay, or how you want to expand your business, or what business do you want to start, right? So in enterprising, being creative and innovative, it is also about being diversifying your product or your services. Okay, you can start business. So people have started business. There are a lot of startups and now out there, but you need to diversify on whatever you're trying to do. All right. So these are skills, or these are characteristics, or these are behavior that you should have even before looking out for what you want to do after you graduate. So you see, I've given you like a gap, like a skill that you need to complete, or a skill that you need to acquire, not complete, a skill that you need to acquire before you even think about what you want to do after you graduate. So remember, when you graduate, or when you have just completed your undergraduate, or when you just have completed your studies, before you even think of whether you want to work, whether you want to continue with your education, whether you want to start a business, or whatever that you want to do, ensure that these skills or this characteristic, this behavior is built in you. All right, you must acquire this. Be resilient, be consistent, optimistic, confident, assertive, enterprising, creative, and innovative. When you have this, next, whatever that you have decided to do will become better in the journey that you take. Okay, the journey or the path that you take after that will become better, and it will be very beneficial to you, and you will have a wholesome experience in that if you have these characteristics or behavior set in you. So you must learn the exposure to this first before even thinking of what you want to do after you graduate. Right, regardless whatever you do after you graduate, please ensure this must be built in you first. All right, have this mindset of being resilient. Okay, being very confident is very important, huh? Being very confident in what you do. If you're going to go for an interview, you're going to go for a postgraduate program, be confident and look at the end goal. All right, so that is the reason why these skills are very important. Okay, so that before you go into your the next phase of what to do becomes a better experience for you. Right, having said that, now, where do I begin? So, once the graduation celebration are over and the initial euphoria has worn off, you might find yourself feeling a little lost about which direction to head in. That's very true. Huh? Once you graduate, once you finish your last exam and you get your transcript saying that you have graduated with first class, second class, or whatever, you will get the excitement for graduation. Unfortunately, these days, in the past 2 years, graduation ceremonies have become online. The online graduation ceremonies are taking place, or even physical graduation ceremony. It's very limited, and it's not as extravaganza as how it used to be, right? So regardless, the graduation celebration is there. So once the celebration is over, then the next question comes up. Okay, or even in your graduation ceremony, or even in your graduation party, people come towards you, or come up to you and ask you, hey, what's next, what are you going to do, what's your plans after this, and so many of you may have an answer, a very perfect answer to give. And some of you may be in lost and say, no, I've not thought about it. I'll take some time to think about it. Let's see how it gets, and so on. So that is very, very normal. So do not compare yourself with others by looking at your friend who is going to be telling you, hey, after graduation, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go to US. I'm going to go to UK. I'm going to go to Australia. I'm going to do this. I'm going to come back, and it doesn't matter. Okay. Some people have everything planned for them. Some people, okay, can start planning, but again, do not rush and decide on what you need to do. Okay, there's always a gap that you need to fulfill before you even think of what you want to do. Right, now that you are armed with all the learnings from your course, you may be wondering what your next step should be. So you'll be thinking, I've learned a psychology. Say suppose I've learned psychology, I've graduated from psychology. What do I do? Do I start working, or do I need to get a postgraduate degree in order to establish myself in the psychology field, or the job that I'm going to do after this and all? So that's quite normal. So you may ask yourself, should I work, or should I study, or should I take a break? That's very normal to think, but you need to know what you want to do. And if you haven't figured out what you want to do after university, don't panic, as the chances are a lot of your peers haven't either. So, like I told you, maybe some of your friends have already decided on what to do. most of them would have not even thought about what to do. So if you're among one of them, so that's very normal, right? So you have time to think about it. Okay, take your time to think about it, because whatever that you are going to do, you must enjoy yourself, and you must be very proud of what you're going to be doing, and you must own up to what you're doing. All right. And there are a number of routes you can take after university, and everyone's journey will be different. You could search for a graduate job, enroll on a postgraduate course, or set up your own business. So, simple options that I gave you just now. So, everybody's journey is different. All right. When I graduated many years ago from my undergraduate degree, I did not work. I straight away pursued my postgraduate degree. On the other hand, I had my friends who immediately seeked out for job. Right, immediately seeked out for job, and they went on working, and they became very successful at a very young age. That's fine. And like myself, I finished my undergraduate, I took on my postgraduate degree, then I got a bit of enlightenment of what I actually wanted to be, because after I graduated, I didn't know whether I wanted to do a postgraduate degree or whether I should work. So I took a break, and then I thought I will do a postgraduate degree, and then I will think how my openings are. Right, so it depends on what you want to do as well. Right, and I also have friends who have started their business immediately after graduating. They probably would have graduated in a very different field and started a business in a total different end. All right, these are things which can happen, and it's very normal. All right, now, moving forward, what are my options? Okay, so like I told you, most of the time, students may want to get a job. Okay, you either end up in the government, the civil service, or you may opt for private jobs. Okay, next, you may either think of higher education after that, postgraduate programs, and so. And then you may start a business, small, large, or you may want to freelance as well. Freelance gives you a little bit of freedom on what you want to do. You're not tied up to anything. You still have your freedom when you want to work, or when you want to study, or you want to do part-time studying, you want to do a part-time business, you want to do a part-time job, and so. So many have opted for that until they get a clearer picture of what actually suits them the best. Right? Okay, so these could be your options. Now, going into this option, the first option that you may consider is get a graduate job. Okay, get a graduate job. So the majority of graduate look for a job. A lot of people, after they graduate, the first thing that they want to, or probably in their final semester, they're already preparing a beautiful resume, right? And probably some of you would have been like would have sent it off to all these job agencies, and even directly to some companies and so. So that is one option that you can do. Even before you get graduate, before even you graduate, you can start looking for a job and start looking for prospects. That's very normal. And while the pandemic may have changed the face of job market you were attending to join, there are still opportunities available. So you may think, some of you may think, oh, because of the pandemic, the employability market, the labor market is very low, the employability opportunities are less, but it's not. I mean, it's not as what it's going to stay as such. Okay, it is improving. New job opportunities have emerged. New recruitments have taken place. Okay, new portfolios in organization have been established and developed. So look out for this opportunity. Remember, I told you, master your opportunity. In the first few slides, I told you, master your opportunity. So look out for this sort of opportunity when you apply for jobs, when you look out for jobs, when you go for interviews, or when you seek for job applications. And so make sure you look out for this sort of opportunities. Right, and graduate may also have to be more flexible in their choices, and perhaps consider an option that they would haven't had pre-pandemic. So before pandemic, you may want um, you would have considered thinking of a job which is in the corporate or in any field. But post pandemic, maybe your options can change as well. So initially, if you're a tourism graduate, you may want you would have thought that you want to go into the tourism industry, you want to go and do promotions for your own country, tourism for your own country, and so on. So after the pandemic, you notice the tourism industry have actually declined, and it is actually struggling in many countries. And so what are your options after that? The food industry have picked up. All right, in Malaysia, especially if you see the F&B have picked up online deliveries and so maybe you want to align yourself to that sort of job. You want to look out or seek out for those sort of job in that industry and so be flexible. Do not be very rigid in your options. All right, have a more flexible consideration. If you really think that you want a job, okay, you don't want to consider a postgraduate program, you don't want to do anything else, but you need to get a job, then you need to be very flexible. Because if you're going to be very rigid with whatever that you are going to look for, you're going to be very strict with whatever that you're looking, it's good, but it may take time, because times are not as how it used to be, right? So be a little flexible in the area that you are doing. If you're struggling to find a job straight after graduation, fill your time with internship, volunteering, part-time work, or a stint of work shadowing. So these are the options that you have while looking for a permanent job. You can do a bit of internship, you can do volunteering, part-time. This will actually improve your skill, working skills, especially meeting with people skills. All right, like I told you just now, people skills. This will improve your people skills, and of course, you can actually add all of this into your resume too. Second option is becoming self-employed. Okay, if you can't find your dream job, then maybe why not you be the owner of the job, right? So why not create by setting up your own company, and perhaps you have a great business idea or believe that your final year project has a commercial potential. So in APU, you all do your final year project, right? So you may think of how you can actually convert your business idea into the project into a business idea and so on. So there are a lot of opportunities out there, startup businesses, new companies emerging, and so you can opt for that as too. So putting your entrepreneurship skill to test could be a smart move. So if you are a business minded person, if you're a very enterprising kind of person, then maybe this could be an option for you. And if considering going self-employed, you need to assess your skills. What can you offer? What is your unique selling point? Diversification. So I'll give you examples. I have had graduates. Okay, I have had many graduates over the past couple of years. I had this student who, while she was in her second year moving to her final year, she started baking. Right, she started baking. She started taking orders and doing small time baking for business and so. The minute she graduated, she continued into this field. Okay, she started baking, she started doing this business in a bigger scale, and now she has actually expanded her business very well, and she has actually mastered the entrepreneurship skills in that industry itself, and she's doing very well. So you see, it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter. Sometimes you may think that a bachelor's degree is essential, but you see how it can actually help you. Or while you are doing your degree itself, if you have this business minded skill in you, you may want to consider that as a option, right? So diversify and also seek opportunity, right? You may know what you want to sell, what you want to be, what business do you think will you will be happy doing it, right? Okay, if you want to be self-employed, if you want to start a business, so there are certain things that you must know. Independence and autonomy, right? To make your own decision, you have that. That's an advantage that you have. You have control over whatever that you are doing within the work that you're doing. You have freedom to the work on when you want to work, and so you've got the flexibility. You can seek out for opportunities, and you will get your own recognition. So these are the advantages of becoming a entrepreneur yourself. Right. Now, the third option may come in as to pursue a postgraduate degree. So this is an alternative to return to university to study at postgraduate level, a route that many find it rewarding. So now, postgraduate degree is just the minute you finish your undergraduate program, you may consider a postgraduate program. Okay, so in the past, I've had many students who took up their postgraduate degree in a total different field. I have had medical doctors who come in to do their MBAs. I've had engineers who came in to do their MBAs. I've had uh, students who have graduated in language coming in to do their MBA and their postgraduate degree. So even when you do your postgraduate degree, okay, it does not mean that it has to be in the similar industry or not industry, similar field. If you are a business graduate, then you may want to do an MBA. But if you are a science graduate, you may also choose to do an MBA. So it depends on what you want to be. Like I told you, I had medical graduates who coming in to do their MBA. So their option to do an MBA was because once they have graduated with their MBA, they probably want to take the medical industry into business and so that is their idea of what they want to do. So you see, before even they start working, they've thought about what they need to do. After they graduated, they've actually thought about what they want to do. So you want to do medical, you want to be in the medical line, but you want to do a business. So in order to do medical, in order to be in the medical line and to do the business, you need a, probably they thought they need an MBA, okay, a business degree in between to connect these two. So they came in for MBA. So it is not necessarily the minute you graduate you have to work. So this is another option. So think of what you want to do so that you know whether you need to start a work or whether you need to get to a postgraduate study. All right. So some careers like research scientist, psychology require further postgraduate level to qualify. So there are certain degrees that you will need a postgraduate degree to be more established in the working industry. When you seek out for a job or when you look out for employment, you will probably need a postgraduate degree. Like in the education field, if you want to be a lecturer, if you want to be a professor, you want to be assistant professor, associate professor, of course, a master's degree is a minimum. So you need to know what is the requirement for a particular job and so. Okay, a master's degree and PhD is very much important in order to be in the education field, especially in the higher learning education. And when you want to do a postgraduate degree, you must ask yourself, what is the reason for studying for the chosen course? Why are you doing and why do you think this is so important to you? And what skills, knowledge will this course give you in addition? Right? And how will it make it more employable? So you need to see whether this postgraduate degree is becoming more employable for your option or not. Oh, the fourth choice or fourth option that you may take is take a year gap. Okay, we call it the gap year. Gap year offers a brilliant opportunity not only to see the world but also to experience different cultures, way of working and understanding. So gap year doesn't mean that you must only travel to seek or to look out for experience and all. Gap year may just be a relaxing year that you take to just read up, discover yourself, look into things that you want to upgrade your skills. Maybe you want to meet up people, you want to complete whatever that you have not completed thus far and so it is all about developing good skills and organizing yourself. All right, take the year to just organize yourself and think of what you want to do, plan your year ahead, plan your life and see what suits you the best. All right, so some people travel, some people just take a time alone, some people do a lot of reading, some people opt for um, just starting up something new, okay, going into business and so thinking about going into business and so on. Or some people may just want to just take the year free and see what they have not fulfilled and complete that before taking the next move. Other than that, try new things. Try new things here is go out of your routine. Okay, go out of your routine. The next life chapter can be the most exciting one yet. So the minute you finish your degree, the minute you have graduated, the next thing that you want to do is something different. Okay, so take up learning, read a new book, go traveling, go and learn some music, learn baking, learn cooking, join a local book club or anything that will make it more meaningful for you. So life is not all about just working and living, it is also about experiencing the rest of it. All right, okay. And probably along this way you will discover your passion that you have not actually discovered before this. All right, and networking is very important as a graduate. Regardless whether you want to work, whether you want to study, whether you want to start a business, networking is very, very important. Okay, always when you speak to new people, reach out to people, when you are introduced to anyone new, try to see how that connection or that relationship will be will be beneficial for you in future, especially when you're in university. Keep in touch with your classmates, keep in touch with your lecturers, your professors, your classmates, anybody within the institution that will be that will be meaningful for you in the future. All right, especially for some students who went for internship. When you do your internship in second year, always keep in touch with your um, past companies, so that you have a good connection. You may not know, sometimes you may end up there again, right? So use links like LinkedIn, and those kind of profiling to improve your networking skills. So you must be prepared that regardless, okay, coming to end, regardless whether you want to work, whether you want to complete your postgraduate degree, whether you want to start your own business, whether you want to go traveling, whether whatever that you want to do, you must always be prepared that anywhere, if you're working, if you are meeting people, if you are in an association, if you are connected to someone, and so there'll always be politics, not only office politics, there'll be politics everywhere. So that is why you need to go back and remember that I showed you. Hold on, yeah, let me get back to, yes, this one. These are the skills that you must always remember before you even think of what you want to do in future. All right. So there will always be politics. There will always be conflicts. There will always be disagreement everywhere. But if you're resilient, if you're confident, if you're optimistic, you are careful. All right. You are careful, and you are very confident with whatever you're doing. Then you can survive in any of these areas that you are choosing. And you will deal with different people with various personalities and tendencies. So in human resource, we always say, people are different. That is why we manage people differently. So when you start working, when you go into your postgraduate degree, when you start your business, when you travel, you will meet people from various and diverse background and behaviors and characteristics. So you must understand that that is normal, and you must learn how to deal with it. All right, and that there is competition, and it's going to be tough. So moving forward, whatever path that you take, it is going to be a very difficult path, but you must ensure that you complete it very well, complete it with confidence, seek out all the opportunities that you have, seek out all the resources that you need in order to get to the end point. Though it is hard, though it's going to be very competitive, but you will succeed at the end of the day, right? And finishing up, remember, graduation isn't the end of a tough journey. So if you think that graduation was so difficult, oh, I struggled 3 years graduating, it was so difficult, yes, we acknowledge that. All of us acknowledge that hard work and effort that you have put in. But remember, it is a beginning to another beautiful one. What is this beautiful one? Is whether you want to work, whether you want to study, whether you want to start your business, whether you want to just take a year gap, whether you want to just learn a new skill, it is all about discovering yourself. So if there is one question that if I always have students asking me, Miss, should I study or should I work? What should I do? So it all goes back to you, what you want to do. Okay, think carefully. These are the options, but before choosing this option, you must know that what you want at the end of the day. What is the final outcome that you would like to see at the end of the day? Then you will know the right decision that you should be making. Okay, and in the decision making process and in the journey that you take, enjoy every step of it, because life is a journey and life is full of experience, and this experience is what will teach you lessons and moving forward. All right. Okay, with that, I wish all of you the very best in seeking out your career after your graduation. Thank you.
Um, Thank you, Ms. Subaashni. We will now be moving to the question and answer
Yeah, sure.
Q&A sessions.
Yes.
For the first question from the participants, it is, what should I expect in my first job interview?
All right. It depends, Veronique. Just in your first job interview, especially if you are a first time graduate seeking out for job. Okay, you just graduated, you're going for a job. What you should seek is basically your employers. Okay, the person who's going to be interviewing you is going to look at your confidence level. Okay, because they know you are first time coming for an interview, right? So that is one thing that you should be very observant of. Okay, that means you must be very confident, and you must market yourself very well. That these are the two things that you should know. Because when you going for a first interview and you're just going for your first interview, you should know, and they will also know, the employers will also know this, you are first time, you're very fresh. So they might feel that you are not suitable for a job, that you may not be ready for a job. But you shouldn't portray that. You should portray your confidence, and you should also build profiling yourself and sell your skills, and show that how you can actually convince them. That is the most important thing. Your degree, your qualification, your grades and all, they have already gone through that, they have that information. But what they are seeking is the soft skill that you need to show. I hope I answered that.
Thank you, Ms. Subat. The second question is, how much is the basic salary scale given for fresh graduates?
This is a very interesting question. Okay, it depends. It depends on the industry. It depends on the job. It depends on the company that you're working for, and it also depends on different nationalities to different nation to one nation. So in different countries around the world, okay, minimum salary or basic salary or for a fresh graduate may differ. Okay, and especially if you are in a particular industry, if your job requires certain risk involved, and then your basic salary may be higher than compared to a person who is just working in a similar age and similar experience working in a office environment. And so imagine an offshore engineer. Okay, a fresh graduate and offshore engineer going all the way out there to work in the very risked area. Their basic salary may differ compared to a fresh graduate who is just going to an office and starting work. So it all depends. But what you can do to ensure, what you can do to identify these benchmarks or a scale is to look or to do a market research. Okay, market research is where you compare. Say suppose you got a job as a assistant IT engineer or something, then you compare how much is the pay from one company to another company, what is the market scale which is given to IT engineers in the industry itself, in the tech industry. Then you may be able to see what is the minimum. And so employment law in Malaysia, we have employment law which states the minimum salary and so on. But of course for graduates and all, it starts with a different scale, but also depends on the type of job, the type of exposure, type of risk, and type of industry that you belong to as well.
Thank you, Ms. Subat. The other question from the participants is, would the employer question why you had to take a gap year after you graduate?
Yes, if I'm an employer, I will automatically pick up that and ask, what did you this what there is a gap. You graduated in 2020, but you're just coming for your first job interview in 2022. So what did you do throughout the 2021? If I'm an employer, I will surely ask the question. So this is the time for you to show what you have actually gained or experienced throughout the 2020. Remember, I told you taking a gap year is very good. This is where you upskill yourself. So if you go to an employer and tell them, I took a year gap. Okay, I took a year gap, but I upskilled myself. I joined online courses. I traveled a little bit. I worked in a certain area just to get exposure, and so as an employee, I'll be very happy to see that you have actually taken that 1 year, not to just sit and just waste your time, but you have put it into good use. All right, so you need to convince your employer that that 1 year, regardless, you are just seeking you are just at home, but not at home, but you are just off from work and so on, but you have put it into good use, upskilling yourself, or traveling, learning new skill, learning new hobbies and so on. So these are things that we will want to see, because education alone will not build your experience, your exposure. Okay, you need other external activities to see how you can actually improve your skills.
And then we have a question from Leon. What can I do and how do I know my weakness if I get rejected by the interviewer?
Okay, I'm gonna answer with a question. You go for an interview, Leon. Okay, first time you're going for an interview, you get rejected. Uh, do you think you're weak because you got rejected the first time? No. Okay, no. Right? Going for interview and getting rejected doesn't mean that you have weaknesses. Okay? See, going for an interview, getting rejected, that means you have certain skills that you have not achieved yet. That is how you should take it. All right. So yes, the weakness is not your weaknesses, but probably a gap that you need to fill. So going for interview, when they ask you, can you do this, can you do that, and you say, I mean, you truthfully say, no, I can't, you know. So that does not mean weaknesses. It's just that you have not come to that level yet to upskill yourself or to improve your skill to that level. So do not see getting rejected at interview is a weakness. So sometimes maybe getting rejected is could also be a reason that you're overqualified, or probably they've already hired someone, or probably the organization itself is not fitted for you, and so do not see it as a weakness. So getting rejected on a scale, getting rejected 5 6 times before you end up in a particular job is very very normal. So some are lucky, first time you go, first time you get the job. So some of us so it doesn't mean that I have always got my job in the first round itself. So some of us, we need to go for a couple of interviews and then we see what is expected, and when you see that you get rejected, you know that there are certain things that you need to improve yourself. So take it as a improvement, a platform for improvement rather than seeing it for weakness. So getting rejected doesn't mean that you are weak, right? So what you can do if you get rejected, your question is what you can do. Come back, think of why they have actually rejected you. Call them and ask why was your application rejected, and then they may tell you, or because your salary is asking salary is too high, or maybe they will tell you that you don't have these skills. So when they inform you about skills, or when they say that you may not be able to complete this and all, so you know, oh, these are my area of weaknesses, so I need to improve on that and so.
The other question is it always better to continue to higher studies after degree?
Okay, I think I explained this in the slides. Huh? So depends. It all depends. If you want to work, you really go into the race of looking out for a job. But if you think you will get a better job after you graduate you own a postgraduate degree, like I told you, some courses, okay, some field, some industry require a postgraduate degree in order to have a better prospect after you complete. So it all depends. Yuvanesh, if you want to be a lecturer, say suppose you want to be a lecturer, you need to take a postgraduate program in order to qualify yourself. But if you think that you just want to go and work, you don't want to be in the education field, then go ahead and see how you can actually go really looking out for jobs. So depends on what you want to do. All right. So certain skill, like I told you an example just now, you are a medical doctor, you graduate as a medical doctor, but your aim is to do business in the medical industry. You want to create something, some form of app or some form of medical business, and so you go and take your MBA, and then you see how you can actually improve your way of creating your business then after. All right. Okay.
And for the last question from Amanda, how do we market ourselves? What details should we share when we market ourselves?
Okay, good question, Amanda. Amanda, when you go and market yourself, make sure you have, I always use this word with my students, profile yourself. Profiling means when you graduate, don't worry, you have your degree. Okay, you have your degree, you have your grades, you have your qualification ready there. But what you need to portray to them is, besides this qualification, the experience and the additional skills that you are bringing forward for employment. Okay, So, how do you show it? What are your soft skills? What are your employability skills? Communication skills, people skills, problem solving skill, decision making skill, being resilient, being confident, looking out for opportunities, creativity, innovation. This is how you should market yourself. So when you go and sit in the interview, right? Go and sit in the interview, regardless whether for a job interview or some universities still do have interviews for postgraduate students, and or even if you are a person who wants to start business immediately after graduating, you are going to interview or the bank is interviewing you for loan or something. How do you show that you are confident enough? That is how you market yourself. You must tell them, though you don't own anything, but you must be able to convince them that you are able to do it. Right? So that is how you market yourself. On another note, Amanda, okay, in universities you do your program, okay, you do your courses and so, but there are certain skills that you do not learn, right? So if you are a business graduate, why not you take up basic IT course as an additional after you graduate? Skill yourself. Now cryptocurrency is very is like an in thing. Go and learn up on that, or go and learn up a little bit on entrepreneurship. Go and do a little bit of data analytics. Go and do, see what is in the market, what is the current trend in the market. Okay, so doesn't mean that you are in the business or in the tourism or in the media field, and so you cannot diversify yourself. You need to diversify yourself. Learn new things, learn new skills, learn new hobbies that will improve yourself, and you can profile that even much better.
Thank you, Miss Subashini. Um, we
Welcome.
have we have reached the end of a fruitful
Okay.
presentation. On behalf of all the students and participants, we would like to thank you, Ms. Subashini, for making the time within your busy schedule to be the guest speaker for the Career Development webinar. Your presence and wise words help magnify our choices in the best possible way. Again, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks, Veronique, and all the best to everyone.
Thank you, Miss.
Thanks.